Be 5-year-old me. Moved to Canada. Living now in a high-rise which faces another high-rise with the same height. First night there, eating some ice cream while playing Game Boy. I cannot sleep, so I look out the window. Watching the other building and notice something. It's on the roof on all fours walking. Its body is large, the stairwell leading up to the roof is behind it, and it's just as big as that box. It is then followed by two smaller forms as they seem to morph. They turn into the lion and hyenas from Lion King, and turn towards me as if they knew I was watching. The lion's eyes shining a bright gold as it freaking leaps off the roof at me. I scream, falling back, tripping over my bed and knocking myself out. Wake up to parents worried about me, asking me what happened. Told them I had a nightmare. Knew in my young age they wouldn't believe me. For a few years my family babysat some kids, and I had nightmares of being in my room staring out my window. The babysat kids stayed in my room, and I would always hear growling and snarling from outside my room. They would all leave the room, leaving me to stare out of the window. It was pitch black save for a few beams of light turned to star into the darkness, seeing the golden eyes of something dart back into the living room. I still have nightmares, but nothing to that level of horror.
Be me. Have an Asperger's brother. He's kind of a nutjob, not in the retarded way but in the freaky way. Always says pseudo-neonazi crap. Jokes around about killing people. He's in high school. I'm in college. Summer break, I decide to go back home to hang out with my family. We go to my brother's room to play video games. His room looks like a pig lived in it. Plates everywhere. Crumpled up paper. Half-eaten food. I smell something nasty behind the dresser. He goes to the washroom to take a piss. I investigate behind the dresser. There's a fist-sized hole in the wall. I take out my cell phone and use the flashlight option. I start to get sick. There's a severed, rotten hand in the hole. And a knife covered in old, brown, blood stains. Earlier this year, somebody went missing in this neighborhood. I put 2 and 2 together. My brother comes back. He sees me investigate. He takes out his pocket knife and threatens to kill me and our family if I tell anybody. Past few weeks he tries to keep an eye on me. Summer break is over, head back to college out of town. Still haven't told anybody.
Okay, this one is not mine, but I want to contribute, so here it goes. Be another anon. Me and my father, along with my uncle and 2 little cousins, 7 and 9 years old, go to a soccer match in my uncle's van. Adults never went to the bathroom in the whole match, and we, me and my cousins, didn't want to disturb them. Very important match, semifinals, so even though we're pissing ourselves, we don't ask for them to take us to the bathroom. Finally the game is over, hop on the van and head to my uncle's house. Just as we arrive to his house, my 2 cousins run into the house to use the bathroom. My father and my uncle stay in the van talking about the game. Since it wasn't my house, I was gonna wait outside with my father and my uncle until the bathroom was vacant. Just as my 2 cousins enter the house and turn on the lights, we hear them screaming and at the same time glass breaking. We thought someone had entered the house. I get scared and stay in the van. My father and his brother run into the house to see what happened. They find the older kid curled up like a ball crying on the floor. The little one was standing, but he just kept screaming. Father and uncle search the house but find nothing, so they ask the kids what happened. The little one has calmed down now and says that they saw the dog eating cereal from a bowl sitting in the table. Brush it off as nonsense, but there was a broken bowl with cereal on the floor. Try to get information from the oldest one, but he can't even speak, he's just tweaking very bad now. Fast forward 3 days. The older brother hasn't said a damn word and the small one just keeps repeating the same dog cereal shit. They hand the little one a piece of paper so he can draw what they saw. He draws the freaking dog sitting on the kitchen table, in a chair, just like a human would do, eating cereal with silverware in its paws and everything. The older brother ended up in a psychiatric hospital for nearly 1 year.
Paraphrasing because I didn't save the original Greentext, but it went something like this. Be me. 3 years old. Wake up late one night to go to the bathroom. Almost directly across from the bathroom is a guest room with an old antique bed that is raised off the ground that you can see fairly well under. Finish taking a piss and head out the bathroom door. Look into guest room and see a little gremlin looking thing under the bed, black eyes, long sharp teeth and claws staring at me. Stare at it for a minute and get excited wanting to play with it since I'm young and didn't think anything of it at first and it looked like a fairy tale creature. Get excited and wave at it, then it puts its front finger out beckoning me to come closer to it. Start to get really uncomfortable and have a sense of dread come across me. Realize this thing shouldn't freaking exist, run screaming to my parents' room crying. They check the room and nothing is there. Tell me I'm seeing things. Know what I saw? Sleep in bed with parents for a month before I feel comfortable enough to sleep in my own room again. Years later little cousins comes over to visit. They're playing in the room and I hear one mention the little man under the bed. Freak out and carry them both out of the room in a panic and lock it up. I don't know what it was, but that story really stuck with me, freaked me out reading it, and I'm a grown man.
Be me. Be working at gas station. Right off the interstate in this small town, like 600 people. Town doesn't even have its own police cops. Be like 3 a.m. This gold-colored muscle car comes tearing off the ramp into the parking lot. No one else around. Guy gets out, long, scraggly brown hair, weathered face. Strolls in, walks up to the counter and just stares at me. Sir, can I help you? Do you need cigarettes? Are you lost? Sir? He just stands there, staring at me for what seemed like forever. It was just 5 minutes or so. Suddenly, he turns around, and, watching me over his shoulder, starts to walk back to the door. He nods at me once, and exits the building, still staring at me over his shoulder. Guy gets to his car, opens the door and stands there behind the door just staring at me. At this point I'm calling the police, but it will take forever because the town has no cops, so the county sheriff's police must respond. I lock the door, but the building was practically made of glass, locks weren't going to help. Guy just stands there another 5 minutes staring at me. Finally gets into his car and tears off back up the ramp onto the expressway. Cops arrive, take report. I nabbed his plate number for them, and gave them the video recording of the lot from that night. Manager came, it was a big to-do. One of the county deputies used to come into the store and get free coffee. One night, about 3 months later, he stopped by. I asked about the report I'd filed about the weird staring guy. Police had stopped him a few miles down the road. He was acting weird, but they didn't really have reason to hold him, so they let him go. Until a week later, my cop friend tells me that the guy from that night was in an accident in another state. Killed instantly. Big mess. But in his trunk investigators found a desiccated corpse that turned out to be his long-dead wife. MFW, that corpse was in his trunk the whole time he stared at me.
Be house sitting for my aunt while she's in Euro for my cousin's art gallery or some crap. Aunt lives in a sort of bad part of town in a beautiful mother-freaking Victorian built in the 1860s. Bring AR with me to house sit for a week because what the hell would the point be if I wasn't armed? Fading in and out of sleep on couch one night. Hear window in basement chatter. Insta awake. Insta on feed. AR in hands, flashlight on. Go into basement slowly. Tactically slicing pie with light on strobe. Nothing in basement. Look for broken window or glass or something. Nothing. Suddenly the scream of 1,000 burning humans fills my ear as if it were 3 inches away from my head. I'm talking banshee status. I freaked the mother lover out, ND'd into the staircase and ran upstairs, out of the house and stood on the sidewalk for a good hour. Eventually grow balls and grab phone from kitchen and call aunt. Is this place haunted? Oh yeah, never go in the basement if you hear glass break. MFW. Turned out the guy that built the house tortured his wife or something down there and beat her and neglected her until she died of starvation or some crap.
Okay, so this happened like 2 years ago, but it kind of scared me. Be me, 22 yo. living with my parents, sister, and my little doggy. 2 years with GF. She and her sister always had this kind of bad luck to attract the paranormal. They always told me their backyard was very crowded at 3 a.m. They are kind of used to it. One day, I'm in a room having a phone call with GF, it's like 2 a.m., she likes to call me a lot. Start hearing footsteps and some kind of marbles rolling just above me, on the roof. Freak out and tell GF. Try to calm down and stay alert in case it's some guy trying to get in the house. Footsteps and marbles still out there, nothing else happens. 6 a.m., didn't sleep, damn, gotta go to work. Next days are exactly the same. It's Monday 2 a.m. Phone call with GF. Closing the backyard door and front door, parents, sister, and doggo are sleeping. Start hearing the noises again. Nope, the hell out to my room. Get pissed and start yelling. Hey you stupid, why don't you freaking show up? Show yourself, you think I'm scared of you? Nothing happens. Suddenly my bedroom's door gets freaking smacked. Open immediately. No one is outside. Check parents and sisters' rooms, nothing. I recently moved with my GF to the big city, but last time I visited my parents' house the noises and footsteps were still there.
Not necessarily creepy, but supernatural nonetheless. Be me. Obsessed with my partner, like I was under a love spell, she practiced satanic spells, but besides the point. She wanted to break up with me. Decided I was gonna kill myself day. Went to take a nap, and when she's gone at work was gonna hang myself. Had a dream about this pretty black-haired girl that was telling me not to kill myself. She then changed to a zoomed up rotting corpse that I couldn't look away. She told me she died from pain relating to her throat. Face was all mangled, green, flaky, skin partially clinging onto the moldy skull and dried ooze around where her eyes were supposed to be. Wake up freaking horrified. Didn't kill myself, I felt like I snapped out of the spell I was in. Told my ex about the dream but not the freaky part. Ex's face went completely pale. Asked what's wrong. That was my ex-girlfriend. She died from cancer 4 years ago. Not making this up. She saved my life, even though I never knew her when she was alive. I sometimes wonder why she helped, but I'm glad she did.
Be 6 years old. Wake up deep in the night in my room. Everything is covered in a hazy yellowish mist, sickly yellowish. It's hot, extremely humid. Mom, I standing at the door to my room, bare naked, typing a shirt across the doorway, from one end to the other. Mom? What are you doing? Tells me it can't get me, she won't let it. Hear what sounds like a lion growling in the deep black of the hall behind her. She tells me she has to go now and that she loves me. Immediately begin to cry because this is all very wrong. She turns and walks into the growling darkness of the hall. I get out of bed and run to the door, but I see something out in the hall. A massive, insectal face with many eyes, in the darkness. I wake up the next morning thinking it was all a dream. House if full of relatives, police, and ambulance. Mom died of a heart attack in the night. She was only 25 and had no family history of heart problems. Dad was sitting at table, screaming and crying, never seen him get like that. Dad moved away when I was 13, my aunt and uncle adopted me. He remarried and had 3 kids with his new wife, haven't seen or spoken to him since I was 16, I'm 27 now. About 12 to 13. Lived in a pretty nice house. For some reason at around 10 p.m. every night for a month there was a single knock on my window. After a week just accepted it. Eventually just said out loud, "Can you stop, I'm trying to sleep bitch," when it happened. Stopped a week later. Still don't know why it happened. Whenever I looked out the window no one was there.
B15. Parents threw me out of the house at midnight for finding drugs in my room. Like I give a damn. MP4. Pack my backpack and get a sleeping bag. It's summer, so sleeping outside is no problem. Find a lonely spot in the industrial part of town, Put sleeping bag down on the edge of the parking lot that borders the building, cozy little alcove. Go to sleep, bit spooky being so alone and quiet, but fall asleep. Wake up to hear liquid pattering down onto my sleeping bag. Goddamn Rain Man. Wait, I'm in the alcove, how can it be raining on me? Poke head out of sleeping bag, some guy pissing on me. What the hell are you doing? Yell at him for being a creep, get out of the sleeping bag to kick his hide. He runs off like a goddamn Kenyan. Freaking piss-soaked sleeping bag, goddammit. Wait, this doesn't smell like piss. It was lighter fluid.
Out with my friend. Sitting on a bench. Be talking. People throwing us weird glances. Think it's because of the obscene topics. Don't care. Keep talking. Suddenly one old dude comes up to me. Excuse me, sir, but who are you talking to? I wish I was kidding. I've already made an appointment with a psychiatrist.
Grow up having nightmares about something in my childhood room. It looked like it had no skin, just muscles and organs. It would always crawl slowly from the hallway entrance, across the rug in the middle of the room. Right before it got to me I would scream but no sound would come out. I would feel as though I couldn't move and like all the energy in the room was being sucked into the closet. Pretty typical nightmare for a kid. I moved out a few years later to go live with my dad, my mom remarried, and her new husband's son moved into my childhood room. After a few months the kid got sent away for behavioral problems. He had pissed in the corner of the room when he needed to pee. The walls were ruined. He had hidden poop in socks in a drawer. But one thing he did struck me as eerie. He had pounded finish nails into the floor. One nail every half-inch around the entrance to the room. One nail roughly every quarter-inch around the closet, which had the doors torn off. When they asked why he did it, the kid told them. I had to be sure. Freaking made me turn my lights on. Nice.
Few weeks ago. Out with buddy at park. About 100 minutes past dusk. Walk into 30 by 30 meter pavilion. I avidly invite any spirits and entities to manifest many times, orally. Suddenly feel a potent deja vu. Friend looks at me and says, "Oh seriously," and books it to car. I follow. He told me he saw a white featureless face taller than me moving behind me, chilled.
Be me, mid-20s living alone. Wake up in the dead of night, really odd abdominal cramps for some bizarre reason. No idea why. Go through to the bathroom. Sit down and get ready to poop. Straining. Suddenly hear this really odd raspy/gurgling sort of rushing air sound like a balloon deflating. Whole room fills up with this awful smell of rotten meat out of nowhere. Hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Have this unreal feeling of dread. Whole house has gone dead silent. I live in the countryside and normally you can hear some animals at night at least. Cramps have gone but there's no poop. There's literally nothing there. Freak out, switch on all the lights, get my 12 gauge out of the closet and start shouting as loud as I can to scare away anything close by. Eventually calm down, but I have no idea what happened to this day. Haven't had anything like it before or since. Still scared to go to the bathroom at night to this day. Got chills just typing this out even now. No idea what happened.
Home alone while grandma was on a date. Live with grandma and her parents live on the same street 4 houses down. Be sitting in living room watching the Pokemon movie. Throwing Pokemon cards around everywhere because I wanted to feel like a trainer throwing Pokeballs. Hear a tapping on the glass that faces the backyard. Freeze in place. Look at window and see a figure standing on the other side. Person breaks glass. Nope the hell out. Run faster than a Bugatti to my great-grandparents. Tell great-grandpa, and he calls the police. Police show up and look around, check for prints, none, and check the house to see if they're hiding. Cop finds something on my pile of thrown Pokemon cards. Shows it to great-grandpa. He begins to cry a bit. Grandma comes home not knowing crap, no cell phones. Police tell her everything, show her what was found on Pokemon cards. She breaks down and cries. Police leave and we stay with great-grandparents until the next day when the window gets fixed. Grandma replaces all the locks and buys a gun. Don't understand why they're so scared. 2 years later I bring it up and Grandma shows me what scared her. It was a picture from inside my closet. The date on the photo was from 2 days before the break-in. And in the photo I can be seen sleeping in my bed.
Me be out at a friend's house. Brother texts me along the lines of, I thought you had taken the back door's key. I get home few hours later. Ask WTF he was talking about. Says I came home early and called up to his window. Claimed I didn't have the key and couldn't get in. Kept insisting for a while to open the door. Brother found it creepy, he's the type to turn on every light when he's home alone. Didn't open the door and stopped replying. The thing pretending to be me went away after a while. What kind of spook is this?
Be son of someone who used to have a minor modeling career. She could have become really famous. Got pregnant with me instead. I'm 100% white by the way. She is an alcoholic and while still really beautiful can't get a man she is interested in. She sometimes murmurs in her sleep that she hates me. She once sleepwalked around the house with a kitchen knife saying that she wants to kill my dad, whom I've never met, and me.
Wow. That's pretty messed up. It immediately reminded me of something that happened to me while I was spending the night over at my aunt and uncle's house. They were putting me to bed, and I was bawling because I didn't have my stuffed toy dogs Woof Woof and Charlie. In an attempt to console me and get my bratty, noisy self to go to sleep, my aunt had grabbed a pile of my cousin's stuffed animals, trying to convince me to take one by one. She finally got to a dog that looked like a crappy Goodwill version of the old pound puppies, C-Pick, that had a jingle bell in its head. So she shakes it for me and says, "See? His brains jiggle," which got me lolling and made me choose him to sleep with. She tells me good night and leaves, and I curl up to sleep. As I'm laying there getting ready to drift off, I hear the thing say, "Do your brains jiggle?" They couldn't get me to stop screaming and crying for hours. Damn, it still makes me uneasy. I'm sure it was probably in my head, but damn, what kind of kid imagines that sort of screwed upness?